Okay, so for this tutorial video, I'm going to show you how to do a character turnaround while maintaining the 3D quality. This is an example of one that I had done before, and I already collapsed all of my layers into one drawing, and this is the result that you'll end up seeing by the time it's complete. What I also did is I set up some hotkeys so that I can cycle between frames on the timeline to make sure that everything is lining up properly. I have it set up with F3 and F4. And what I can do is, using F3 and F4, go forward or backward on the timeline. It's an effective way to be able to check your work as you go while you're sketching out the character so that there's no differences in proportion as you're turning them around. So to set up a new one, I'm just going to be grabbing a 1920 by 1080 at 96 pixels per inch, just to have a brand new document. Now, if you don't have the timeline there at the bottom already, what you can do is go up here to Window, Timeline, and that will toggle it on or off. After that, to be able to set up your hotkeys to cycle between F3 and F4 on frames on the timeline, you go up here to Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts. Then you make sure that your keyboard shortcut is set to Menus, Shortcuts for Panel Menus. Then you'll scroll down until you see Timeline Frames. You'll drop that down, scroll down until you see Go to, Next Frame, and Previous Frame. You can then click on that and press a key on your keyboard to set it to a new hotkey. I chose to have mine set to F4 and F3, which is what I recommend. Then I start by sketching out the front-facing view of their character. When I get about to this stage is when I'll decide which side, the left or right, I like more. I use the lasso tool to then grab everything except for the face. I copy and paste it, then flip it to the other side, and I'll just go ahead and erase that other half, avoiding the face, so that what I'm left with are two symmetrical halves. It's going to look weird at first. That's where you go in and you just modify the shape. Merge down those layers so that neck became really thin. You can just widen it on either side. And this will make the next step in the process so much easier if you already have a body that's symmetrical on both sides. Alright, next we'll do adding a layer to the timeline down there and an additional one. So you have one layer, two layers. We'll then make a second layer for our next point of view. Make sure to name them to stay organized. Alright, next what I like to do is I'll have my rulers active, and that's another thing where if you go see View, Rulers, is how you toggle those on and off. View Rulers. You can then click from the ruler down to the top of the head, the bottom of the chin, and any other landmarks that you'd like to place. These will act as guides to help you to make sure that your character is maintaining the same horizontal axis as it spins. And now, because I have F3 and F4 toggle to be able to move forward and backward on the timeline, I alternate between the first and the second. And now, as you're using F3 and F4 to go between the two layers, you can see every time that there is a geometric problem with your turnaround. So then I know that this needs to be up and to the right a little bit, for example. Looking a little bit better now. And I will choose a landmark that remains in the same place. That'll act as a pivot point for your character. And for this, I picked the what would you call it? The solar plexus, that center. Is essentially just a circle pivot point that stays in the exact same place. I noticed that I need more guides for those eyes to make sure I get the height proper as the character is rotating, because this is much smaller than I had initially drawn it. And you can see too that this is where the nose lands in that front facing, but then when I go to the side view, it's a little bit lower. So I can use the lasso tool on the sketch to move that up so that it is closer to that correct location. The ears also move up quite a lot. So in the same way, I'll use the lasso tool and I'll just move that down. Actually put a guide for the bottom of the ear to help me along the way. And the top of the shoulders looks like it's a little bit incorrect, so I'll use the lasso tool, move everything down. That's looking a lot better. Oops. Right. And of course, this is imperfect. It's just to show proof of concept and generally how you're going to want to set things up. So, of course, there are small errors here and there. Next, we'll start the 3/4 view by adding a new frame. And using F3 and F4, you move between the two and repeat that same process. Sometimes copy and paste is your friend in this instance. Other times, maybe it's easier to do it freehand. but it's important to start with basic shapes while you're working before adding in a lot of detail. That way you're not having to correct incorrect proportions as you go.